wake up, you're going to wake up.
The world of sports has seen numerous people rise to fame, with some of them leaving a mark that qualifies as heritage. All of these people have led a different journey and a different course of events. Here's the story of one such crazy-ass guy, Niki Lauda, one of the greatest racing drivers of all time who won 3 world championships in the sport's highest level of international competition, Formula 1, and made his way out of the toughest of the situations with the survival instincts of a rat, a name his contender James Hunt used to refer to him. Lauda was injured many times in race crashes and once was almost killed. Started in 1950, now the supreme of single-seater auto racing in the world, contrary to popular belief, F1 is not just a game of high-speed chase or who has the superior vehicle. It puts drivers under tremendous pressure and they lose 2 to 4 kgs of their weight during a race. The average temperature in an F1 cockpit is anywhere between 50 to 60 degrees, and the driver's pulse rate during a race can vary anywhere between 160 to 200 beats per minute. A driver can feel an overload of 5 to 6 times of gravity. To put this into perspective, astronauts experience 3 to 4G during a launch. An F1 driver needs superior reflexes to respond to sudden changes. An average Formula 1 racer reacts in 100 milliseconds as compared to the 300 millisecond reaction rate of an ordinary person. They have to undergo complex courses, training relentlessly to be in peak physical condition. Another popular belief is that F1 is a sport for the rich, but our man of the day, Niki Lauda, actually had to denounce his family wealth in order to start his career. Born to a wealthy family in Vienna, he had been expected to follow his father into the paper manufacturing industry. But Niki had different plans. On confronting his father about his passion, he was refused permission with the comment that racing is for playboys. Niki's grandfather and father had respectfully established a name for the Lauda family. It belonged to politicians and economists. Niki's desires were not in line with that and threatened to malign the family's image. But the blood rush in his brain made him decline his father's offer of getting a lot of money in exchange for continuing their already established business, and head on straight to the world of racing, taking all the risk by himself. He took a loan in 1971 and bought his way into the March Engineering Formula 2 team. He then very smartly chose people who wouldn't easily run out of finances and would readily agree to his terms. He was a deaf driver with due knowledge of automobiles and car parts. In his meeting with the mechanics of his very first car, he was asked to rebuild the whole system in order to make it lighter and so to increase the horsepower. The test showed amazing results, as with the changes he made, the car ran faster by 2.3 seconds. On being asked what he did to that car to make it that fast, he offered to reveal the information on certain conditions: guaranteed place in the team and a 2-year term contract. In 1974, he signed with the prestigious Ferrari team. After winning his first world championship, Lauda seemed destined to repeat it in 1976. He won 5 early events and came second in 2 more. But in his next race, the German Grand Prix, a 14-mile 76 curve course, things went drastically wrong for him and his 1,300-pound blood-red Ferrari. Lauda had 5 victories in the series through 9 races and more than twice as points in the championship than his closest competitor James Hunt. It was the 10th race of the season. The German Grand Prix fell on a bad weather day. It was raining and Lauda hit a slippery patch at 140 miles per hour. He spun out and broke through a restraining fence which snagged and tore away his helmet, then hit an embankment and bounced back onto the track, where he was hit by several following cars. His fuel tank burst into flames and the fire engulfed him in the cockpit. By the time 3 other drivers pulled him from the wreckage, he had severe burns on the face, heads and hands, a concussion, a broken collarbone and other fractures. His right ear was badly burned. Noxious smoke and gases from the car's burning interiors seared his lungs. He was taken to a hospital in a coma, then to a burn center, seemingly near death. On Lauda's 3rd day in intensive care, a Roman Catholic priest gave him the last rites of the church. Lauda was conscious and the rites only made him angry. James Hunt felt guilty of the decision that got enforced upon Lauda and the rest of the drivers, who got injured on the day of the final race of the German Grand Prix, and even tried to write Lauda a letter apologizing for the mishap. He had a series of operations that left permanent scarring on his head. He lost part of his right ear, the hair on the right side of his head, his eyebrows, and both eyelids. He chose to limit reconstructive surgery to the eyelids, and thereafter wore a red baseball cap to cover the worst disfigurements. And soon Niki began talking, walking, and making plans for his return to the racing track. 6 weeks after the devastating crash, Lauda returned to the competition in the Italian Grand Prix at Monza near Milan. He finished 4th. Against all odds, he began winning again and finished as runner-up to the 1976 world champion, his British friend James Hunt. Sustaining his comeback a year later, Lauda again won the world championship, beating Jody Scheckter by 17 points. 7 years later, after a series of poor racing seasons and a 2-year break, Lauda won his final Formula One championship and retired from racing in 1985. But because it's tough to satiate an explorer's hunger for experience, he served in various executive capacities for a number of racing teams, even becoming a racing analyst and a commentator. In 2013, he was appointed as the non-executive chairman of the Mercedes AMG F1 team and still has 10% of the team to his name. Niki Lauda, the man of discipline, precision, and balls to call Ferrari a piece of crap, kept the words he said to his father when he denounced his family wealth to follow his passion, by being known as one of the most famous personalities in not just Formula One car racing, but in all of sports. On 20th May 2019, Lauda died in his sleep, aged 70. In his honor and fond memory, a moment of silence was held before the 2019 Monaco Grand Prix. Throughout the weekend, fans and drivers were encouraged to wear red caps in his honor, with the Mercedes team, instead of the usual silver scheme, painting their halo device red with the sticker stating, "Niki, we miss you." Niki Lauda has inspired millions of people around the world. His attitude, determination, and life values are a great source of motivation for all of us. If you like this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.